Hello, welcome to part 4 of Ruby on Rails and creating Airbnb clone. So yeah, in this video, in last video, what we did, I explained you the folder structure, all the folders in this project. So in this project, we'll do two things. One is a very small thing, clearing the gem file and understanding the gem file, and second is starting the server. So let's start with the easy thing, which is config, no, not config, gem file directly. Okay, so here I'm just rearranging these gems. Again, to repeat that gems are basically libraries. Okay, hopefully, yeah. I'm doing this so that whenever we add new libraries in future, it will become a bit easy for us. You can keep the comments, you can remove it, it all depends upon you. It's completely fine. For our case, I'm just doing it quickly. If it's a group, let's keep it. Let's remove this. Let's remove this. And let's remove this. Okay. Now let's rearrange them into alphabetical order. I might make some mistake here, but bootstrap. Okay. Rails or A. B. Okay. Rearranging this is a bit boring, but yeah. J, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Okay, it's already correct. Puma and PG, we can have that here. P I J P P R R S S. Okay, debug web console. So now it's properly arranged for us. So that was first part, and we won't make a commit for this, or yeah, right now we won't. Now let's start our server. So for starting our server, I am in our repository or the project, which is Airbnb. Okay. The command for running, so earlier we used Rails new to create our project. Now the second command that we are using is Rails S, or if you want to write it full form, you can use server. So this should start our server. Where is it? It mentions it 127.0.0.1 3000 port. So which is also known as localhost. So let's do that localhost 3000. Okay, so no database error. We could not find database this, which you can. Okay, what it mentions it. Okay, I should scroll this here. It mentions to create a database. We don't have a database currently, so bin rails db create. Let's do this. Let's stop our server. Bin slash rails db create, or you can also use Rails db create. Both are same. Rails, obviously, the command uh, to manage all the Rails command, root command, database create. Let's start this. Now let's see using get status what all changes have happened. Okay, there is still no change. Let's refresh this. Okay, we'll have to start the server. Okay, we can see our website running. Obviously, it doesn't have our code yet, but it's working. And are there any other changes in database? No, that's fine. Now let's open another terminal because we will keep our server running. For that, I'm using Command T or Control T. But the point is that I'm creating another tab for the terminal, which is again in Airbnb folder. Now Rails have a lot of generators. Okay, let me implement this first and then I'll explain it to you. But the main point is that there are a lot of generators. Right now we'll be using controller generator. Rails generate, or again simplified G. What do we want to generate here? Right now I want to generate a controller because I know that even if I want to show something, even if I want to show hello world in my browser, if we again go remember our MVC framework, browser will send a request to controller and controller will send the view. So we need a controller here. So let's generate a controller. We'll name this as home and we'll generate a HTML file also. We'll name that as index. Let's see what happens. What it does is in app folder, in config, it has changed something. Routes, home, index. Okay. Then there is a controller, home controller. Because we wrote home, it used that home and created home underscore controller, and this is the controller. Because we used index as our template or as our view file, it has created index. There is a helper file, and finally, what is it? View, home folder, and then there is index. What does it say? It says to visit this page, get home this. Let's do this. Home index. And we can see that this is coming up. Where is it? Let's have a look. Okay. So maybe if I write hello world here, that works. But it's on home/index. We want this on our root folder. So for that, what we will have to make one change, which is in our routes, if you see this root, then there is controller name, and then there is file name, view file name. So I can write it as root, which basically means localhost or the main domain. But if I'm using root, I will have to use hash here because it's a special route. And we can see hello world. So what happened here? Instead of explaining you, let me undo these changes, which will make things better. We don't need helper, so I'll just delete it right now. We had created this home controller, delete that. I know it might become a bit boring, but right now I'm doing these just to explain everything in detail. Are there any other changes in app? No. Let's go to get status and we can see there's change in gem file only. Again, reminding we used Rails generate controller, home for the controller name, index for the file name. But we won't be doing that. Let's remove this. Let's create this on our own. So first we'll do controller, new file, home underscore controller dot Ruby file. It's a Ruby file. We'll create a class named home controller. It will inherit from our application controller, or we can directly write it as application controller end. So that's our class. In this, we want a definition of or a method. This is a method basically, index. Okay. Maybe for now I'll just comment it. Okay. Now we need a view. So for view, what I'll do is in views, I'll create a new folder named home. And in that, generally we create index.html.erb file. So what this mean is index is basically the main file for this particular component or controller. You'll get to know this in much more detail in later videos, but right now we have only one option, index. We can use other things also, but that won't follow the convention. It is a HTML file, but because we want to use Ruby in this HTML file, that's why it's a ERB file, embedded Ruby. So that way the power of this particular file is that we can use Ruby as well as HTML in this same file. Let's write this hello world /h1. Okay, so we have done this change. What else do we need? Can we visit this home right now? I don't think so. Even if I'll show it to you, this /home/index, it won't work because it says routing error, no routes matched for home index. So let's add a route. Where do we add routes? In config. Let's do whatever it's saying. Get, okay, get home/index. That is what it's mentioning. Refresh, and we can see that from home controller or from our home folder, it is taking the index file and it is just showing it. This function helps us send information to this particular file. So for example, if I want to send some variable @name equals to send that, then this index file will automatically connect with because it's in home and index, it will go to home folder and index file and it will connect it to that. And as I mentioned that we can use Ruby also. So if we want to use Ruby code, we will have to mention anywhere in the file, we can mention this syntax. Okay. So there are two parts to Ruby code. One is the logical part. Second is the rendering part, showing the view. So whenever we are using this Ruby code, inside this we can write our Ruby code. But whenever we are writing any code, we have to decide two things. Do we want to show whatever we write in this? Do we want to show this in our website or not? Or it's just logical like if, else, switch, anything. Those things we don't show on our website. We just use the logical code there, right? So here we want to use the name, which is coming from here, and we want to show it. Now, if you want to show it, you will have to use equal to. Okay, let's refresh, Rajat. If I remove this equals to, it won't get visible. So I hope it makes sense to you. Okay, so again, three parts. One is the controller. The index connects to the index.html file of home controller. And finally, we have to mention it in our routes also. Now, again, the problem is it's not on our root folder. So for that, root. Now again, this is a special case. Root is a special route. So we'll have to mention it via hash. I hope this makes things clear for you. And yeah, for now we will keep it like this. So now we do have a code. This is part 4. So get status, get branch, main branch, get checkout dash b part 04. What should I name it? We have created a home controller, right? Home. Okay. Instead of that, let's write hello world because it makes things clear that this is the starting point. Get status. Okay, so this is what type of work it is. It is a feature or a design or a bug fix, something like that. I'll just write it as feature, FEAT feature, and hello world. This should make things clear for me. Get push origin main. Get push origin hello world. Okay, so it has created the new branch. Clear get checkout main. I'll merge this in main also. Get merge. Let's do one thing. Let me think. How do I want to structure this? Should I keep my main up to date? I think it would make sense because that's the default branch. So get push origin main. Let's quickly have a look on our slash Airbnb. Let's have a look. Our main has two commits, great, and the last is hello world. And we have a part 4 hello world, which again has same commits. So yeah, it does work correctly. And just to keep things very clear, I'll just remove get branch dash d, remove this branch locally so that I don't make any mistake in committing code later on. That's it for now. It was basic explanation of all the things and just a revision. Controller view, we have created that, and a route, and we'll go in depth later. Thank you. Bye bye.